You know what allows you to be smart and allows you to realize the tangible skills that you need to have, and that's just building intelligence and self-growth. Things like language skills from learning English, that's important. Things like math skills to be able to calculate and make the right decisions in life. Those skills are going to be skills that a lot of people are going to be subconsciously relying on to make the right decisions. You're not just going to go to the Louis Vuitton shop and spend 10 grand on a bag because you know financially you're going to do some quick maths. Oh no, I'm going to starve for like 6 months, right? But that's just the sensitivity to the numbers. And by exposing yourself to more to maths and more to numbers, you'll build that sensitivity and subconsciously you will hold back and you won't make these rash decisions. What we're going to be focused on today's talk is how to get started. So, in our previous conversations, we've talked about a little bit about, some students that go to like selective schools or have been through OC or have been through tutoring. They kind of know how to manage their studies, right?
Yeah.
They know the natural progression of how it works. But a lot of students that maybe haven't been to a selective school before or haven't been tutoring before, they know they have an issue, they may be behind on something. Deep down they want to get better, like it could be English or maths or whatever, science, but they don't know how to get started, right? And I feel like not enough content is put out there for them to be able to kind of maneuver those uncharted waters because they've never been there before. They don't know how to start, it's overwhelming. They feel like they're too far behind, and it's so much easier to just give up and not do the work, right? When they look at the amount of work that they have to undergo, they have to do to get to where they hope that they can be, it's like an entire mountain they have to climb. And the sheer amount of work and not knowing what to do creates anxiety and makes that journey a lot more scary than it is, right? So you need the right guidance.
Do you also think that there's an aspect of fear that you're going to put in a lot of time for something that you can't guarantee is going to work out?
100%, that's right. I feel like a lot of students, they're like, well, if I spend an hour on homework, doing homework, but I don't get a single bit of it right, I just wasted an hour. Might as well not do homework. So yes, 100%, I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
There needs to be some sort of a blueprint. It doesn't have to be like exactly, you don't have to follow it exactly, but some sort of basic guideline that they need to follow and need to be aware of so that different students and different individuals can tweak it to their liking, tweak it to how, like whatever stage of their academic or study journey that they're on. But the overall plan is pretty much the same, I think. Okay. This is my opinion.
Okay.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Today we're going to start with our first topic, which is having a controlled environment, having the right environment to get started.
Okay.
And we've spoken about this, me and you, before, and I think our audience will be able to listen to the Kevin interview. A few weeks later, we'll release the episode.
Okay.
But we had a conversation about how a lot of parents, they understand the importance of a controlled environment. So therefore, they push their children to get into OC class, to get into selective schools, right?
Yeah, yes.
The reason why that's important to them is because the students, they might not be disciplined themselves because they're young, they're immature. But if they're all high intellects inside the school, inside your class, in the environment, and everyone is working really hard, everyone is making academic the number one priority, which is what it is, right? When it comes to like OC class and selective schools, academics is the forefront of the mission.
Yeah.
That you can't feel bad that you're the one not doing it to an extent. Now, there are always going to be kids that are going to be rebellious. Like the closer they get to puberty and they have their own thoughts, right? They're going to have their own kind of way of thinking.
Yeah.
But for the majority, they know and they're smart enough to know that, studying is important. And if your environment is controlled where everyone is studying and everyone's working hard, then it's very hard for you to kind of steer away from that mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a lot of parents, just like your parents, they had the foresight to be able to know that they have to put you into that kind of environment. Also, your family, friends as well, you know? A lot of parents like to kind of gauge where their kid is at compared to other kids. So if they have a family friend that's doing really well, that's really smart, they will make the decision for you, and that is, at that young age, like a 7, 8-year-old, why can't my kid be like that, right? So naturally, that competitiveness, even though you're not mature enough to have that competition, that they can throw you in the environment and you will think that that's normal. Working hard is normal in that kind of environment. So naturally, you will strive to work hard because everyone around you works hard. And that's what the community does, right? Like, your parents don't have to keep an eye on you 24/7 in that situation because the teachers and the students will do that for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you started maturing and you got into like the later years, even when you hit puberty, you had your own ideas. You also wanted to do cadets and you also wanted to be a prefect and you love photography. But at the back of your mind, you still knew the importance of working hard to study. So therefore, you not doing it made you uncomfortable. A lot of students, they don't have that sixth sense. They're willing to put the work on the back burner. And they're like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'm more interested in playing basketball. I'm more interested in playing these computer games. I'm more interested in hanging out with my friends, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have that discipline and they don't have that environment to help them stay focused. Because even if you want to do photography all day, every day, when you go to school and you can't do a question while all your friends can, you're going to be annoyed.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like everyone's smarter than you and you can't let that happen, right? And that's not something that you can get if you were in an environment where no one cared. Because you are in a selective school in which everyone did care.
Yes.
That made you keep yourself accountable, do the work, but you still pursued your interests, which then made you extraordinary. Right? If you had ideas and if you had your own interests and hobbies that you want to pursue, but you're also in that kind of environment, that means you're doubling the amount of output as well. Whereas someone maybe that's purely academic, that doesn't have any dreams and aspirations in your school, they only know academics, they might be slightly better than you in terms of getting that one hard question right. But in the grander scheme of things, you have more experience, you have more skill.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
But you can't explore your interests and hobbies without also improving on your intellect. Because otherwise, you're just going to go out into the real world one day and you're going to get swindled left, right, and center. Right? Because the society is designed to make you pay. Isn't it? Almost every single business out there is designed, and all the ads and all the content is trying to make you a consumer. And it's designed like that. So if you don't have the intellect and you don't have the intelligence to be able to see that, and not only steer away from that, but also use that to your advantage to make people consume your content and make people, right, put money in your pocket, then it's kind of dangerous, I feel. So these kind of habits, in all seriousness, for your journey, started as early as OC class in year 5, isn't it? Yes. And being so comfortable and being so used to that kind of environment allowed you subconsciously to know that studying is the number one priority, yet I still want to pursue all my passions and interests, right? We're not saying playing basketball is bad. We're not saying playing video games is bad. We're just saying that you can't sacrifice your IQ and EQ, you can't sacrifice your personal growth for things that are hobbies that may not be guaranteed skills that you can use when you get older, isn't it?
Right.
Maybe the skills that you learn from playing video games is only just to be happy. But that's not going to put food on the table for a lot of people. Yeah, there are some professional gamers that can make a living out of it. But those people are smart because they understand how to spin that to let other people consume that content. Imagine a professional gamer. What they're doing is they're selling their skills for an audience. Those audiences paying to consume that. And how do they pay? By buying the sponsors' merchandise, right? Like, for example, a video game championship, sponsored by Gatorade, sponsored by KFC. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to be eating KFC and drinking Gatorade while they're watching the video game competition. So those people that are professional gamers, they are so good at their skill, but most importantly, they understand that it's generating financial incentives for them.
Yeah.
Right? But not everyone gets to that level. So therefore, you know what allows you to be smart and allows you to realize the tangible skills that you need to have, and that's just building intelligence and self-growth, right? Things like language skills from learning English, that's important. Things like math skills to be able to calculate and make the right decisions in life, right? Those skills are going to be skills that a lot of people are going to be subconsciously relying on to make the right decisions. You're not just going to go to the Louis Vuitton shop and spend 10 grand on a bag because you know financially you're going to do some quick maths. Oh no, I'm going to starve for like 6 months, right? So maybe we should buy this bag, right? But that's just the sensitivity to the numbers, you know? And by exposing yourself to more to maths and more to numbers, you'll build that sensitivity and subconsciously you will hold back and you won't make these rash decisions, I guess.
Yeah.
So going back to our first point, I think that community, that environment is so important, so crucial. Because even when times get tough, the environment is already set there for you to follow and do the right thing.
They create the norm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So studying and learning and improving becomes the norm. And it's not some sort of chore. But a lot of students, they don't have that luxury, right? Imagine the parent that they didn't have the opportunity to study. Maybe they out of a laborer's background, right? And they're working really hard and they don't really have time, but they also don't have the ideas. They don't understand how to educate their kids in that particular way because they've never experienced it before, right? What do those students need to do? Because they never had their parents knowing, oh, you need to go to a selective school OC class. Oh, you need to go to tutoring, right? So what can they do then, right? I think they need to subconsciously find that environment or create that environment. If your family has the financial capability of paying for tutoring or going to some sort of holiday camps or holiday workshops or whatever, if there is that luxury of having disposable income for that, I think some parents don't have the time and they don't have the right exposure to that. They don't know where to go, right? A lot of parents, they know, okay, the student, they need to put their kids in a much better place, but they don't know where to go. A lot of tutoring centers out there are scams. A lot of workshops or extracurriculars, they're not really learning, right? They're not really getting better. These kind of entities, they make it too much about profit and not so much about quality and actual improvement. So therefore they don't know where to go, right?
Yeah.
So it might end up being the students themselves that need to be more proactive, to be like, oh, where are my top friends going? What are they doing? And I need to look into that, right? If they go to a specific tutoring center that is actually making a difference, I need to try that out. And not just go to any tutoring center because money is not easy to come by, right? Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
So you don't want to waste your money going to tutoring centers that aren't going to put your best interest in mind, right? So you might need to do a bit of research, but these days it's much easier. Not like back in the day when there was no internet or whatever. You actually have to trial and error, and hopefully before your HSC you find the right tutoring center. These days everyone knows, right? the word gets out very quickly. And it's not just where the smartest kid goes per se, it's also a student that was in your situation that's now gone to the next level, that worked for them. Because what works for the smartest kid in your school might not work for you because you're at a different stage of your journey, right? Maybe when you get to their stage, you can pursue that kind of tutoring. But you need to look for what's suitable for you. And put yourself in an environment where that community will motivate you in that stage to get to the next level. If your parents or you yourself, you can't afford tutoring, you have to take the scenario into your own hands. So you have to create that environment yourself, right? So find the people in your school, your friends, and create a study community where you can hold each other accountable. It's hard to stay focused if the people around you don't care about what you care. Because the norm is actually not caring in a lot of these public schools, right? Everyone's just messing around, no one's really studying. So even if you're studying, people will actually bully you or make fun of you for being different. Even though you know that that's the right thing to do, but because your environment that you're in is not the correct one for you, the community is not the correct one for you, that they actually bring you down. So therefore you have to take initiative, you have to make changes so that you can separate yourself from the people that don't align with your beliefs and find more people that do, so you guys can help each other, right? So when you're doing hard questions or you're struggling with a concept, if you have other people there to help break it down and you guys can investigate and grow together, that's really good. When you don't feel like studying, but your friend's like, hey, come on, we promise each other we're gonna do it. I'm here to do it. You feel bad to not do it. And then when they also feel demotivated, you're there to help them, right? And then when you guys both are struggling, you guys can all help each other, right? I think that's really important. So if you don't have the luxury to kind of trade money for the community, then you have to be proactive in searching for these communities, free ones, or creating your own ones. I think that's very important. Because even I myself, there's still a lot of times where I am not motivated. I keep telling my students, hey, you need to be motivated, you need to do this, you need to do that. But I'm still get caught scrolling on Instagram sometimes, right? So a lot of the times, like, if I'm scrolling, I see all my co-workers or other fellow tutors, right? They're working hard and they're helping the students out. I also feel bad, right? That I'm not, using my time wisely. But I won't have that if I don't have that community around me. If I'm not working with like-minded, high-achieving individuals, it's very easy to lose track and then not being able to get back on.
What if you want to be you're being proactive and trying to find the few people in your school who want to achieve academically, but you just can't find anyone? What would you do in that case?
I think that's very rare. Even if your school rank isn't high, there's always a kid that's coming first. There's always a kid that's top 5. The reason why I say that is because the people that are top 5, they are respected in that community, right? In a normal school that's not ranked very high, that kid that's coming first might be the kid that's coming 100th in your school. But because he is first, he wants to stay at the top. So he's motivated by that rank. So he's naturally going to want to stay there. I've never heard of a school where there's not a single student that wants to study. It's impossible because even in the jail, let's say for example, you're a convict in a jail. There's a leader in that jail. There's someone that everyone doesn't want to cross. Right? So they will do everything to hold that position. And in schools, it's mainly academics or sports, right? There's not really anything else. It's either academics or sports. From the academic standpoint, there's got to be a top dog. There's got to be a top 5, maybe top 10. But some schools are so bad that you couldn't get 10 people to study. Like, truth be told.
Yeah.
But surely there's like 5, 6, 7 people in that school that's competing against each other to hold that. And then if there's 200 kids in that school and the other 192 kids don't care, but at least those 8 do. But you know what's going to be difficult? It's difficult for those people to accept you. If you're 20th and you want to study, you want to get better, and your friends are mucking around and you want to make friends with the academic people, they might not respect you enough, right? They might feel like, oh, well, you're a rank 20 guy. You don't deserve to be in the top 5 group, right? Then you just have to bring value. You have to bring value in a sense that you have to make it so that it's not you're getting everything from them. You also have to bring stuff onto the table. That's how communities work,
Yeah.
right? You can't just consume, right? You can't just get all the benefit, right? Why does the person that's coming first or coming top 5 in school, why do they have to help you? They don't. So therefore, you have to bring something to the table as well. Is it because you are super fit and they not? And for them showing you how to study and focus harder on your studies, you can show them how to stay fit, right? Maybe you're a really good basketball player and they really want to be good at basketball, but they can't. Well, maybe you just hang out and play basketball together and show them a couple of things that you know, right? So you have to find a way to bring value. I think that's important. And it's bad to say, but that's how society is, isn't it? Like, no one is obligated to help you unless they can also get some benefit out of it too. So that's how the community works. For example, our tutoring community, why do our tutors work so hard to help the students achieve and overcome their weaknesses and achieve and strive for better? Is because they're getting paid. There's monetary incentive, right? But at the same time, they can feel good about that achievement, right? That they've made a positive impact. But if it's just about positive impact, it's not sustainable because, okay, let's say, for example, you're my student and I did whatever I could to make you come first, but now I'm starving on the street and I died of hunger, right? That doesn't make sense to me. So there must be a exchange, right? I show you how to come first. I show you how to live an optimal student life, study life, and in turn, you're going to help me stay alive in the community, isn't it? I don't believe that the tutors should be greedy in the sense that they can charge extravagant amount. If they do, then the amount of value you're getting versus what you're paying is not equal. So therefore, if, for example, someone's charging you $500 an hour, you're going to be thinking, well, I'm going to find something that gives equal value, right? But lesser money, because I don't feel like $500 is worth it for what you're providing me, isn't it? But if it was, maybe let's say, for example, you pay $500 an hour for this tutoring center, right? But they teach you skills that can make you $1 million. You're going to pay it. Do you get what I'm trying to say, right? So therefore, an equal exchange is very important because maybe someone good at math might not be good at English, but maybe you are more English person. And it's easier for you to kind of adapt and understand how the English language works. And you suddenly start getting really good at English and they'll be like, hey, let's be friends, right? I see that your English is really good and I want to get to where you are. I will exchange my math knowledge for your English knowledge. Let's be friends. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be the guy that's only helping other people and no one helps you and you're just there, you know what I mean? Everyone else catches up to your level and you don't get an improvement. What's the point of doing that, right?
A charity.
Yeah, let's just say how it is. Yeah. Or at least go to a tutoring center where the playing field is a bit more level, right? Because at the end of the day, for the HSC, you're not just competing with the people in your school, you're competing with the whole state.
Yeah.
So don't you want to know what the rest of the competition in the state is about, right? If it's not so easy for you to go to a higher, better school, like I can't just go from Homebush Boys to James Roos, that easily, right? Sometimes some schools have exams, some schools have interviews or whatever. What happens if you can't just easily get there? Well, tutoring centers and student community hubs or whatever is like the next best thing. Yeah, there's always a way. There's always a way. But you have to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
You can't be in denial, right? You can't say, oh, but there is no community. Oh, there is no one. No, there's definitely someone. You're just not trying hard enough to immerse yourself in that new environment. Yeah. Also, like, pacing yourself is important. Like, don't try to get to the most elite group, elite community. Build your way up, right? When you're a small fish in a big pond, as you grow and become a bigger fish, then change the pond. But don't go to the biggest pond so you get eaten by the whales, right? You don't want to be so small that they just consume you. But you also don't want to be so big that you don't get any value from it. So you have to find that right balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why, like, for example, when students come to ProEd, why do they do an entry exam, right? The entry exam is to fit them into the right community. A community in which they're a medium small sized fish in a medium large sized pond, right? And not a pond too big that they can't survive. But also not a pond too small that they just consume. Like, the fish takes up the whole pond. Just eat everyone.
Yeah.
Right? What's the point of doing that then? Yeah. So it's so important that. So that's the long version of your question. Like, if they can't find someone, what should they do? Well, there's always going to be someone. 100% there's someone there.